Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special edition of What's Behind Me. Today we've got a 2022 Kia EV6 long-range rear-wheel drive, just under 500 kilometers of all-electric range. Let's jump right into this very comprehensive video of this special car behind us. All right, ladies and gentlemen, buckle up. I'm going to take you through this 2022 EV6 long range. Now, what we have on this vehicle here is quite special. This is the rear wheel drive long range model. So that means that the rear wheels are powered by that electric motor, and we have a 77.4 kilowatt hour battery pack on this EV6. It's a massive battery pack, which is why we are able to get 499 kilometers of ideal posted range. Now, what does that mean, ideal posted range? Yes, that is the way that the EPA has basically rated the car for 499 kilometers. Is a very interesting way that they rate it. It is not just charge it up to 100, drive it as long as it'll go until it dies, and then that's the range. There's kind of a couple of complicated tests that they do to kind of stress the car out to then get to that EPA range of 499. As I digress. So yeah, 499 kilometers of range on this 77.4 kilowatt hour battery, one motor driving the rear wheels, which is also helping you get that better range than any other EV6. This is the longest range EV6 that you can buy. So let's talk about some of the other great features that we have on this vehicle. In particular, we're going to go through, some of the big things that you get with the long range model. We do have a heat pump in this model, which also helps to get you all of that range. What is the heat pump going to do? Have you ever charged up your cell phone and then when you go to grab it, it is very warm? Well, the same thing happens when you drive an EV. All of the motor and the electronics, so to speak, will get warm. In the wintertime, the heat pump will take all of that heat and then pump it back into the cabin to keep it nice and warm. So basically, it's taking all of that unneeded heat and using it to heat up the vehicle, which then reduces the load and stress on the battery to actually use the heater core of the EV to make it warm inside the cabin. So we're just recycling the heat in order to keep everything warm during the wintertime. And by doing that, of course, we're maximizing the range because we're not using the battery. Very smart technology. That is only available on the long range version and higher. So the rear wheel drive standard range does not have a heat pump. So that's one of the things that this EV6 has to give you that nice long range. Now we've also got the trailer package pre-wiring. I don't know that you're towing much with this vehicle, but it is part of this package as well. And as you can see from the outside, I mean, it's absolutely stunning. So let's start talking about a couple of the features that we have just noticeable on the front here. We've got that nice, beautiful new Kia logo. Now this vehicle here has, I believe, 36,000 or 37,000 kilometers on it, but it does not show. It's in absolutely fantastic condition. And one thing you got to know about kilometers on an electric car, they're not as relevant as on a gas vehicle. On a gas vehicle, there's a lot of wear and tear, and obviously you're combusting fuel in an engine and et cetera, and fluids and everything else. On an electric car, it's really kind of irrelevant. Mileage is just more or less wear and tear, tires, things like that. But these are going to go forever and ever. Now, looking up front, you can see these beautiful LED headlights. We have that nice LED daytime running light as well. And it really does complement that black because those bright white lights really make it shine. The front bumper looks absolutely fantastic. You can see we've got the nice silver trim down below. And then one thing you'll notice on an EV, there's really no air dams because there's no ventilation that's needed to cool off any engines. We have an electric motor, so we don't have to cool anything off, which is why they look so unique and so different at the front. Now, as we come around to the side, you can see these nice 19-inch aerodynamic alloy wheels. That is actually a thing. These are aerodynamically designed to pass airflow beside the vehicle, around the vehicle, rather than sucking it in to cool brakes like you would normally find on a regular ICE vehicle or internal combustion engine vehicle. Why do we do that? Because we don't really use a whole lot of brakes with an EV. That's another amazing fact that people usually forget about. With the EV6, there are 3 different modes for regenerative braking. Regenerative braking, if you're unfamiliar with EVs, we basically take the motor and put it into reverse when we are coasting on the highway, or going downhill, whatever. You're not using the accelerator, you're coasting. It takes the motor, puts it in reverse, puts a little draw, and it charges your battery back up as you drive. When we are braking, or de-accelerating is probably the more accurate word, the faster you lift off of the accelerator pedal, the faster the EV6 will de-accelerate. So it's almost like a brake pedal. When you let off really quick, it slows down really quick. When you let off really slow, it slows down really slow. Kind of see what I did with the camera there? But the whole idea with that is, if you drive it in the one pedal drive mode, you are going to regen the battery as much as possible, and you won't really be using your brakes. So the brakes in this EV6, in theory, will last at least 5 times longer than any other ICE vehicle, because you're not using them. You're using that motor to slow down. Now, let's say you don't like that drive mode. It can be, it's not tricky, but let's just say you think it's tricky to get used to, or you don't like that. The EV6 is unique in the sense that you can change how it regenerates the battery, or that different de-acceleration. You can have it to drive as if just the one pedal where you really don't use the brake, or you can change it to moderate or mild, or I don't know the exact terminology, but you can have it basically drive just like a gas car if you'd like, where when you let off the gas pedal or the accelerator in this circumstance, it doesn't slow down at all. You need to use the brakes. That's entirely up to you. I recommend 100% always trying the one pedal drive. It is absolutely fantastic. If you get used to it, you will love it. And then of course you save on brakes and you recharge your battery. So that's the regenerative braking in a nutshell on this EV6. Just a couple notes for the styling here. You'll notice that we do have flush door handles on that. So that is for aerodynamics and a little bit of style as well. We have that nice silver trim down below. And that's a really cool kind of molding just around these wheel well arches here above those 19-inch wheels. One of the things that a lot of people love is this wrap around tail light that continues all the way through the back, around to the back of the tailgate here. Really, really sharp, nice LED design. I'll get nice and close here so you can kind of see it. It does not, in fact, flicker. That's just the frame rate of the camera, so it's always on, it's constant. Nice EV6 badging around the side, and you can see that kind of sculpted out bumper really makes it nice and sporty here. That new Kia logo. We even have an aerodynamic spoiler up top with those little vents kind of cut in just to bring a little bit of downforce on the back, but then of course not detract from the aerodynamics of the car. Opening up this hatchback design, which is another very nice feature on the EV6, that it's a hatchback. Got lots of cargo space here. We do have a 60-40 split folding rear seat. Those fold down as well if you need to go to IKEA or throw some hockey bags. We've got a charger in this nice Kia backpack here. So this is just the 120 charger. It plugs into a regular outlet. You plug it in, it's not going to charge your car very quickly. This is for like the cottage use or something like that. Maybe, you're heading up to the cottage, you're going to be there for a few days. You just plug it into a regular outlet and it'll slowly trickle charge that battery up. It takes quite a long time. That's not what you use for charging this vehicle. That is kind of your third, I don't even know. That's not what you use to charge the car. What you're going to buy is a level 2 charger. That is a 240 volt charger. You get a 240 volt outlet in the garage. You get that charger, you plug it in, it's going to charge this vehicle overnight. It should charge around 7 to 8 kilowatt hour input into the car, which means you're going to charge up a 77 kilowatt hour battery. If you drained it to empty, which you would never do anyway, would take about 7 to 8 hours. You wouldn't do that. In all honesty, it's going to charge on off-peak hours. Bonus, save your money. On off-peak hours, it's going to take you, let's say 5 hours, because you're never going to go to zero. It's going to take you 4, 5, 6 hours maybe overnight every night. That's, again, if you're going all the way to 10%, let's say. It's all relative, of course, on to how much you drain the battery during your daily drive, right? So that is one of those things to keep in mind. You don't always want to look at the maximums or the minimums. What is your daily commute? How does that look? How much energy goes back in, etc. That kind of determines it. But the EV6 is all designed to do this on off-peak hours to save you some electricity, because hey, why not? But it's actually laughable at how much it will cost you to charge up these electric vehicles when you're off-peak hours at home. It's unreal. Put it this way. 1 month worth of fuel in your gas car probably charges this car for almost all the year, right? wild. One thing to note on this, we do have a little door ding here, which I just kind of noticed here. So we can get our paintless dent repair to come in and just pop that right back out. It'll look nice and clean. But just for, you know, cosmetically speaking, that's one of the things that we just saw in the car here as we're walking around it. Now let's talk about safety on this EV6, because as you would expect, I mean, if we're building such an advanced vehicle, we gotta have some advanced safety features, right? And we do. We have forward collision avoidance with junction turning function. So that is a newer feature on some vehicles. We have the forward collision avoidance. That's normal. You know, as you're driving, it uses that camera up top to see if there's any vehicles or something in front of you that's slowing down or stopped. It will apply the brake for you. The forward collision, the junction turning is really, really neat. And let me give you kind of a visual. Have you ever been in the left-hand turning lane, right? So here we are, left-hand turning lane, and then there's a big vehicle in front here, and you can't see if traffic is coming down the road. Well, somehow, technology, baby, sees that there's cars coming down here. So if you go to enter the intersection and make the left, but it spots the car, it's gonna stop you in its tracks. It's gonna let you know why with a little alert to say, hey, don't do that. There's a car coming, and it saves your butt, which is sweet. So that is the junction turning function. We have lane keeping assist with lane follow assist. So if you are driving down and you see those dotted white lines or the yellow lines, it's gonna keep you nice and centered in the lane. If you happen to drift over, it will actually gently nudge it back into the lane so you don't accidentally, maybe by distraction or you're just tired, kind of float in between a lane. That would not be a good idea. We have the driver alert warning. So as you get a little bit tired, it's gonna remind you, take a break. We actually have this is funny, a virtual engine sound system. It's not on, it's only at low speeds. And that's just to alert pedestrians around you that this car is in motion, because right now this car is on and obviously it's silent. There's no noise. So when it drives, you actually have to have that as part of the laws to make sure that when you're slowly, parking or what have you, people know that you're moving. What else we want to talk about? We talked about the 19-inch wheels, all the LEDs on the outside. You know what? Let's go on the inside. Let's take a look at what we have on the inside of the vehicle now. Door handles. So if everybody's used to different stuff, push here, pull here. All right, show you again. Push, pull, right? Pretty cool. Now look at how much room is in the back of this. I mean, it's incredible. I'd like to say I'm 6 foot, I'm not. I'm like 5'10". I've moved that driver's seat up to where I would be comfortable, and there is so much legroom back here, it's fantastic. You can see the nice vegan leather here. None of the leather here, and this is actually animal material. It's all vegan and recycled materials, which is kind of cool. Nice big center armrest there, but lots of room back here for back passengers for sure. That's one of the biggest compliments we get, is a lot of people say, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how big it was. There's a joke there. Whoops. Inside the front, driver and passenger seat, very comfortable looking. We've got the perforated leather. They're in fantastic shape on this vehicle. I'll show you the passenger side as well. Looks incredible there. All right, and then we have a power driver's seat with power lumbar support, and that is connected to a 2-driver memory system as well. We've got your power folding mirrors here too, which is just notable. I just thought I'd show you that. And blind spot warning, I forgot to tell you, blind spot warning is in the side view mirrors as well. It's kind of a standard feature nowadays with vehicles, but just in case you were wondering if I missed it, I did. One of the things that the previous owner did with this vehicle, which I really love, is they actually put some protection on the panels of the EV6 here. You can see it says 100% UV protection. So over time, this is not gonna fade. And they've added this on the car, which I thought was fantastic. I've never even seen that before, to be quite honest with you. So I love that they've added that. Just, now it's passed on to the next driver, which is fantastic here. So now we're inside. This has been running the whole time. I'm just gonna turn, let's see here. Where am I trying to turn down the fan speed? There we are. There we go. And then the radio as well. Might as well turn that down. Where are we here? All right. Oh, wrong side. So many buttons now. Okay. So here we are. First look at the interior of the EV6. And, first thing you're going to notice is it is super clean. The layout is really quite stunning. We have this nice big continuous screen here along the center. Looks fantastic. We have a leather wrapped heated steering wheel. So in the wintertime, this gets nice and warm, and especially if you use it with the remote start system and it's all being preconditioned everywhere. Anyway you get in the car, it's just toasty warm. It's fantastic. You can see here we've got beautiful digital gauges. Let me zoom in. We've got this beautiful digital gauge cluster here. So this is all one big, nice, beautiful screen. Things to note, so you got speedometer over here. We have our vehicle information in the center, and then we have our battery on the side here on the right. So right now it's showing 457 kilometers of range left on the vehicle. We're at 94%. And then all of this information here is just, you know, it's not in your face. It's not screaming at you range or things like that to make you anxious. It's just nice, it's subtle, it's kind of out of the way, because let's face it, with 500 kilometers of range, I mean, more than enough to get to where you're going on your daily commute every day. 37,493 kilometers on this vehicle here. There's lots that we could cover in the information display here, but in all honesty, nothing much more than that. It's just an information display. Oh, and there's a Tesla Model S pulling in. I'm going to back up just so you can get in here. 1 second, please. Good time to show you the rear view camera as well. So we've got the nice rear view camera here, nice crystal clear display. And I don't know if you can hear it, but it's binging. And what it's doing, it's actually dinging on the outside of the car as well. It's a nice chime. It's not like a delivery truck, but it's just allowing and letting people know behind us that we are moving the vehicle to, you know, heads up. Now, with the regenerative braking, these are the paddles here that you can alter how it regenerates the power. So again, that one pedal drive mode all the way down to the feeling of it just being like a regular gas vehicle are done through those. You can do them as you're driving, which is kind of nice. We have a drive mode here. Drive mode, I'll show you in the center screen, goes from sport mode, eco mode, normal mode. And what we're doing there is we're just going to change the way that the accelerator pedal feels. We're also going to tune down the heating and air conditioning as we go through the different modes in order to give you the best either range or the most performance for you. Now you look here, let's look at the range as we go through. So 457 on normal, 442 on sport, 470 on eco. So you can see it's real-time updating for you. It even real-time updates, believe it or not, when you change the fan speed. So I'm turning the fan speed up, and look what it's doing. It's telling me that we're gonna lose some range if we keep it at the maximum AC as we drive entirely. Now, we're not gonna keep it at max AC as we drive, but it's a nice thing to real-time update, so you know if you need a little bit more range or what have you, you can tune those things back. But honestly, I can tell you I've been driving an EV for over 3 years now. I can only remember 2 or 3 times that I've actually had to pay attention to my air conditioning usage or how I'm driving in order to get the range I need to get where I'm going. It's such a sophisticated system. Ignore all of it. Just drive the car, you know your mileage, and you're fine. So let's look over here. In this display here, we've got a beautiful touchscreen system. This right now is set up on the kind of the home screen. So we've got the battery, we've got the radio, we've got a ghosted kind of image of the navigation system too, which is really cool. Swipe right, and now we have all of our regular kind of buttons and things like that. Let's start off with EV here. Well, this is where all the meat and potatoes is. Shows you where the nearest charging center is, 30 meters away at Clarington Hyundai. It's actually here at Kia. These system here, they're adding so many chargers that it can't keep up with how many there are. So when your navigation updates come in, you're going to see more chargers pop up and pop up and pop up. It's actually really, really neat. Scheduled charging is right down here. When we hit this, you can see you can set 2 different times. This is the smart thing that I like over a Tesla. You can do 2 different departures, because obviously you're going to leave for work in the morning, so you can set it up to precondition the car for 8 a.m. Now, let's say you leave work every day at 4:30 p.m. You can do the second departure time to get the EV6 ready for when you leave work to go home as well. And this can be done Sunday through Saturday. Every day of the week can be completely customized for you for 2 different departure times. The nicest thing I've seen on this car. Preconditioning in the winter is what gets you the mileage that you need. If you don't precondition, yes, your battery's gonna drain, but when you use this, the smart technology in the car, you don't have to worry about that. Case in point, case closed, okay? So that's my public service announcement for that. Use this, you won't be up S Creek without a pedal, so to speak. Vehicle to load. This is kind of a neat little feature. You can actually take power from the EV6 to power other things like, I don't know, a fridge or whatever it might be. You can use the power to charge other items, and this is just asking you how low would you like to drain the EV6 battery before it stops using that vehicle to load. You can set it to whatever you like. So that's kind of neat there. And then this is just showing you your range before you kind of have to get into a situation where you need to charge again. Again, when you use the navigation system and enter your destination, it's going to tell you where you need to get off to charge if you don't have enough range to get to your destination. So it's all very smart, and it obviously updates as you drive as well. If you're driving too fast or, you know, just using more of the range than you should be because of whatever, it'll update for you too as well. Climate control is all in the center screen here, or you can use the controls down here as well. And this is the EV climate control. So it does a lot of things to keep all of the range into the car and not being used for the climate control, even to the point where it has just driver only air conditioning or heating. It just reroutes everything to the driver's side, so that way you can use less of it just to keep the one person comfortable. Smart, right? It'll even turn on the fan when the car is parked after you get out and turn it off. It'll recirculate the air conditioning fan just to drain that excess water that builds up, just so you don't get that moldy smell too, which is really great. Heated seats, of course, heated steering wheel like we mentioned as well. What else do we want to talk about? Some of this stuff is pretty normal and standard, so to speak. The Kia Connect app, again, that's the one to connect to your phone, so that way you can precondition, see how much range you have. Even GPS will show you where the car is in case you forgot where you parked or whatever the case is. Let's back out just a touch here. So this is our heating and air conditioning controls here. And then when you press this button, it goes to the navigation and radio controls, which is kind of cool, right? So it just flips back and forth between heat and air and radio controls. And then look at this beautiful overlay here of the carbon fiber that we've got. Our heated seats and heated steering wheel up front, our EV push button start, and then our rotary dial for gear selection. So to the right for drive, to the left for reverse, and then park is just down in the middle here. We've got auto hold for the braking, but if you use one pedal driving, you don't need to worry about that. It'll automatically hold the car. But auto hold, if you don't use the one pedal, will hold the EV6 at a stoplight or stop sign or in stop and go traffic when you come to a complete stop until you push the accelerator pedal. So one of those things. We've got a wireless charging pad for your cell phone, and then we've got some goodie storage down here. And then take a look at this. And I'm going to say this is not a sexist comment, but ladies, look at what we've got down here for your purse. Again, not a sexist comment. My wife is always trying to find places to put her purse, and it usually ends up down here beside my legs. But this is great storage for that. I mean, bravo. Lots of available space here. We've got some USB ports, another couple of USB ports, a USB-C port, but lots of room down here to put whatever it is you'd like to put there. Maybe it's a tissue box, maybe it's a purse. I'm not to judge. I'm just saying, as my wife would say, oh, that's a great spot. Look at this nice kind of denim material on the dashboard too. Isn't that sweet? So folks, this has been a somewhat comprehensive tour, I would say, of this 2022 EV6 long range rear wheel drive, 37,000 kilometers. Folks, if you want to know more, if you have any other questions, I am an EV expert. I'd love to hear from you. I am available for questions, calls, emails, what have you. Just reach out to me here at Clarington Kia. And if you want to make this car your own, please do. You will never, never, never drive a gas vehicle again, in my opinion. Maybe I'm crazy, but definitely not. So folks, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this review, and please reach out to Clarington Kia with any EV questions you have. We're here happy to help you as well. Now I'm going to go take a look at this Model S. It appears like maybe they're going to go and trade it in for an EV6. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.